Good morning. I am going to go over this graphing activity with you, old growth biodiversity graphing. And it's going to talk in this intro here about the importance of old growth forests and why they are better than second growth forests. And it talks about biodiversity, the number of species. The number of species having many different types makes the forest more resilient. It's more able to withstand disruptions, whether that's forest fire or storms or invasive pests. Biodiversity, high biodiversity, means that that forest is more likely to recover. Second growth forests have less biodiversity. The problem there is if one thing destroys one type of tree, that might make up 80% of the forest. So they are not as resilient. They're not able to bounce back from disasters as easily. What we're going to do is we're going to make a bar graph using some data down here from, I have 5 old growth forests. And what we have for our data is how many tree species the old growth forests have. That's here. And then I talk about secondary growth. Now these are areas that are in the same region, but outside of the park. So the Tarkine rainforest, its old growth had 42 tree species. But outside of the boundaries of the park, there is a second growth area, and it only has 6 species of trees, far fewer. So this is the information we're going to graph. All right, so this is our graph page, and there's a lot to fill in here. Remember, we're doing a bar graph. So I'm going to help you set this up because this can be confusing. I'm going to start on the y-axis, and this is going to be the number of tree species because that's the data that was collected. And if I look at my numbers here, the highest one is 42. So I just have to make sure I can fit 42 in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at 0. I'm going to go up by 5s. And that takes me up to 50 at the top. So I know that the highest number that I have is 42, and that'll fit within this graph. And then I'm going to put my title, number of species. And since it's going to be a bar graph, I'm going to start putting the forests down here. The first one is this Tarkine rainforest. I'm going to have 1 bar for old growth and 1 bar for secondary growth. And I think I'll color code those. So I'm going to put a key down here. In blue, that's going to be my old growth. And then in red is going to be my secondary growth. All right, so let's do the first one. Tarkine forest. And it's actually going to span both of these columns here. So for the old growth Tarkine forest, it's 42. So this first bar will go up to 42, which is right about there. And I'm going to shade it in. Okay. All right, now in the next column is where I'm going to put my secondary growth. So Tarkine forest, we had old growth 42. Secondary growth for the Tarkine forest is 6. So I'm going to go to up to 6 here. I'm going to shade that one in. So now I have my 2 bars representing number of species for that forest. Then I'm going to skip a column and I'm going to put in the next one, which is Yakushima forest. And again, we've got some old growth areas and some second growth areas. And if I look at Yakushima forest, it goes up to 38. Oh, I guess I should have done that in blue. It goes up to 38 for the old growth part. So for this column, I'll go up to 38, and then I'll shade that in. Yakushima forest has 3 for the second growth. So in this next column, I go to about 3, and you'll shade that one in. And if you skip a column between each forest, there should still be enough room to fit all 5 forests down here. Okay, I think that's all you need to get you going and finishing up this graph. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you very much.